Hi there, welcome to my video on how to create the drag and drop activity in h5p. In this video, I'm going to explain why the drag and drop activity is great to use in your online course and what kinds of lessons that you can use it in, the types of courses, and how you might use drag and drop to help your students learn better and more effectively because it challenges them to really think through and participate in the lesson versus just a passive learning experience of watching a video or looking at a PowerPoint. I'm also going to then show you step by step how you can create the activity and what it looks like in your LMS and sort of how to test it to make sure that the different elements are working accurately and the details of building and nuances when you build this drag and drop activity. So if you'd like, check this video up above on all about h5p tutorial. So let's just get started. I am going to give this a title, Drag and Drop Illustration Basics. So I'm assuming that this is for a course that I'm going to teach around figure drawing. Now I've used this example before, and I'm going to use this again because I think this is a great way to teach figure drawing remotely. So oftentimes in figure drawing, students are learning to draw, and they don't just learn to draw right off the bat. There are elements and basics and fundamentals that instructors really hone and enhance and emphasize. So let's just assume that I'm teaching how to draw this flower pot to my students. If you don't like this image, you can choose another image, but I just want to use this as a demo. If you don't like it, you can always click on this X. And then if you need to change this, make it smaller or crop out some elements of this, you can click on the Edit Image button here, and you will see the different options to crop, undo, and redo some of those changes. And then the next thing I want to mention is the copyright. If this image I'm demoing, so it's completely not for commercial use, but if this image that I'm using in my course is not original to myself and it belongs to someone else, it's important to edit the copyright so that proper credit can be given and that it doesn't affect the use of it in your online course. The next thing to consider is the size. Now, oftentimes, most of our students are on desktop, but now with mobile phones and tablets, students are learning and consuming learning on all sorts of devices. So you may want to consider and test out the size to see how it looks in different browsers. I may be using Chrome, but some of your students may be using Safari or Edge or any other browser. So it's important to just test the size out to see how they look in different browsers. Now, the next thing I want to cover before we actually build the drag and drop is the feedback. I've created this range for fun, but if you don't like the range that is offered here, you can always just use the default, which is evenly distributed. Now, what I like to do is to make this a little bit more fun and a little bit more, personal. And so I like to add different kinds of language, add different kinds of words to sort of show that this isn't just a generic quiz or drag and drop activity. So I'll say keep trying, review the beginning modules, and I can even say beginning modules of basic drawing, just so that I can be more specific. And this also helps my students see that I've really put a lot of thought and detail and attention to some of the feedback, because I think learning is always about about feedback and helping students grow and learn. And then the next one, I can even make it even more cool and fun. So I added the word cool and review the middle modules if they scored between 50 and 70. So that's something to give some consideration and thought to. Next is these behavioral settings. These are specific to the learner experience. So I always believe it's important to allow students to take and participate in the activity more than once. So even if they don't get it right the first time, it's important to give them options to keep trying so that they learn and it's also really good reinforcement. The next one is require user input before the solution can be viewed. Oftentimes, even when there's fatigue in online learning, students want to rush and see the answer first before they actually try the quiz or do the activity. When you check this, you really challenge your student and challenge the learner to try before they actually get the answer. And then this is really helpful, and I find I keep this as a setting default in all of my H5P activities, is to enable score exclamation. So I want students to, regardless of what score they got, whether they got all of it right, some of it right, or none of it right, to sort of give that kind of feedback about why they got that score. So you missed this part, so I would suggest you review lesson 1, or you got all of it right, so great job, or you missed some of this, so I would check, and re-review some of these specific lessons. So that way I'm always sort of, quote, coaching and guiding my students along the way. And some of the other caveats that I think, as I mentioned before, with full screen, this is helpful because not everyone is on big laptops or big monitors, and so you want to be able to enable full screen so that students can sort of adjust the size of the activity when they're doing it. I also believe it's important to show score points just for fun, and it's sort of rewarding for students to see, okay, I scored 0 or I scored 1. I can have a laugh at myself because I clearly didn't miss something and I need to go back and review something. And then showing the title is just displaying the title of this activity. The next thing I want to cover before we actually build the drag and drop is text overrides and translations. So this is a setting that's in every H5P lesson. It's basically customizing the labels and the buttons. So like if the check answer button can say, you can have it say check answer or check answer again, or instead of retry, you can say do over. It's just a way to really personalize the experience and make it a little bit more tailored and more towards language that resonates with your end user. Now there's some additional options here, which I'm going to just skip over so that we can actually get into the building of this task. So now we have this image. Now I want to have my students I'm going to build this task so that my students can see what the fundamentals are. So I take this image and I have 3 points here. So these are the words, I should say words instead of points. So these are the 3 words that they are going to drag into these 3 boxes. And then if I want to add a 4th one, I can call this point 4. And make sure this has 1 element. Click on done. So now you see I've created a new one. I'm just going to put this out here and then add the text to say outer leaf, and then make sure that's assigned to point 4. Click on done, and then move this aside, and then I can customize and adjust the size. And so now I can test this out to make sure I've done this accurately. So I'm going to put base here, stem here, leaf here, and outer leaf here. I know I didn't really spell or get these, but it's just the idea of, yeah. Now that I've assigned and dragged them into those different points, I'm going to click save. So now it's saved, and when I'm viewing it, I can check my answer. And as I can see, none of them are right. So let me do this over again. And then, so now I can do this again. I can put outer leaf here, leaf, stem, and base. And let's see how I did. I got them all right. So as you can see, it's really tricky. I want to sort of show you why it's very nuanced. When you're testing this, you have to, in this task part, make sure everything is moved to the side. All the drag and drop words are moved to the side first, and then make sure that these points are assigned to the correct one, or else it doesn't show up right. So that's leaf. That is good. And then we can check again that this is leaf, and we got that right. So as I've I know I said this before, but it really makes a huge difference to sort of take your time and maybe sometimes even draw this out so that it doesn't get confusing. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is the publish. So this is defaulted to protected. So if I like it protected, I can just click on update. But what I want to do is put this into an LMS using the embed code, because my LMS is a little bit different, and so it allows me to embed this link into the system so that the content can be viewed by students. Now, unpublished is just draft mode, and then content protected means it can be inserted to the LMS but not public. Since this is a demo and I'm not really, worried about, sharing my content, I'm just going to make this public. So this is my link. And then, as I said before, you can customize the size and the pixels so that it really adjusts to the different browser experience, and also whether they're using laptop, mobile, or tablet. So now that I've copied this link, I'm going to now go into my LMS in Thinkific, and then this is similar to, no different, it's the same thing you do in each h5p lesson. Go to multimedia, give this a drag and drop, and I'm going to paste my link here with a caveat of removing everything in this link until I get to the embed. And then I'm going to remove this all in the front, and then click save. And then I'll just preview this as a student, looking for the drag and drop. So I'm going to take this embed link, remove this end piece, remove everything else in the front, click on save, and then let's take a quick peek to see how it looks. I'm looking for the drag and drop. And now you can see this is my activity. So I'll just kind of play with it to see if I got the answers right or not again. And then you can see, cool, I got them all right. So that's not, the point is not that I got them all right, it's just that the activity works. It's designed to sort of show my students, this is the base, this is the stem, this is the leaf, and this is the outer leaf. And these are all elements and components that I want you to master before you build and draw the entire figure. So that's it for this tutorial. Let me know if you have questions, feedback, questions about this. Give this video a like, subscribe, and let me know how else I can help. Thanks again.